Welcome to Lake of the Woods. I'm up on the northern Minnesota border with Canada, and you know, this is one of the most popular fisheries there is when it comes to ice fishing, and there's good reason for it. This is some of the best sauger and walleye fishing you're going to find anywhere across the ice belt. I went out to Zippo Bay Resort this morning. The sun's just coming up. I'll bet it's going to be a great day on the ice. Stay right where you're at. I'm going to show you how to catch them this week on Fish Ed. Grab that bobber rod. You know, every morning when I get on the ice, I set up with several presentations, but one of them is always a dead stick. And this is exactly why. You know, I started this morning with baits that are making a lot of noise. I started with a Lindy darter. That's just a little guy. But he's a great example of why I start though with that darter. That's a little sauger, we'll let him go. But I started with that darter and I bounce that thing around and it makes a bunch of racket. And that's really my go-to starting bait here on Lake of the Woods, okay? I've always got a dead stick sitting right next to it though, and here's why. That fish might have come in and looked at the darter. I saw him on my graph earlier. I'm assuming that was the same one. And that might have been a little bit much for him being he was as little as he was, so he grabbed this dead stick. Now, if I sit there and I work that darter and I get fish in, but they won't take the darter and they won't take the dead stick, I quickly switch over to a rattling flyer spoon. And that's what I've got here. And I switched over to this here just a few minutes ago. And let me show this to you, because they weren't attacking that darter. So what I did is I just switched over to kind of the old standby. That's the glow red rattling flyer spoon. And up here on Lake of the Woods, if you don't have a glow red rattling flyer spoon in the box, you're missing something, okay? Then there's one other rig that I always have with me, and it's for those days when things are just a little bit off, okay? But it catches fish every single day, and that is the Frosty Jig, okay? This thing has great new finishes on it. It's got the same red trebles as a rattling flyer, but here's what it's got: no rattles. And there are days when fish just really do not want that racket down there. They want something a little bit more subtle. That's when you go to that. I'm gonna get this bobber rod back down because the fish are just gonna probably start moving in here. We're just starting to get that daylight, and that's kind of the trigger on Lake of the Woods. Just when that sun gets up above the treetops, here we go. Boy, it's amazing how every now and then you do what I just did. Just drop another bait down. It's as simple as that. He ain't a giant, but all I did was drop a different bait down, work a little bit different action. Got that fish to bite. There he's got him. I'll bring this guy up a little bit quicker. This guy came up and just railed it. Look at that. That is a great Lake of the Woods sauger right there. And this is the average size sauger out here. And I mean, that is just a beautiful fish. And you know, I want to talk a little bit about locations on fishing, because I'm setting myself up here to kind of catch a combination of walleyes and saugers. And when I say a combination, what I mean is I'm not fishing in just shallow water where I'm going to find more of the walleyes. But I'm not fishing out super deep either. This morning I'm in 26 feet of water, and what happens is the walleyes are going to feed in low light a little bit shallower, and then they'll work their way out. Now at this time of the year, when I'm talking shallow, I'm talking 20 feet, okay? 20 to 22. The saugers, for the most part, are going to feed out a little bit deeper, okay? Now, somewhere you can find an in-between, and what you want to do is really look for that area where you get away from those small saugers, okay? A lot of times they're going to be really deep, but yet don't go in past that window of that 20 feet or so where those walleyes are feeding. Get yourself on the in-between. Right now it so happens to be 24 to 26 feet, and you can get a combination of good fish. Look at that. Oh yeah, another keeper sauger. Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. No, it just goes to show you that you just got to keep working these fish. This guy, he came up twice, didn't take it, and I just kept working and working and working. You know what? You stay on them, and eventually, they just can't resist it. And this actually, oh, he came off right there. Oh, geez. This is a great example of working a bait. And what I mean by that is this fish, he's been up and down and up and down and up and down with me, and I couldn't get him. And what I finally did is I just dropped this rattling flyer spoon down on the bottom and hammered it hard on the bottom. And this is a great walleye right here. Wait till you see this one, if I can get him up here. But I just dropped this spoon down and just banged it on the bottom one time, and then I brought it back up pretty quick. And bringing it up quick like I did made the difference. Look at that guy. Look at that. That right there is a dynamite Lake of the Woods walleye. Right here, the bobber's down too. But all I did to tune this fish up was I just went down and I banged that thing on the bottom. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let this fish go because we're getting plenty of dinner fish today. That's a fun walleye to catch right there. And boy, it's so much fun through the ice when they just whack it like that one did. Let's let this guy go, and then let me show you exactly how I was working that bait. Whoop. There you go. Here's what I was, wait a minute, let's catch this fish really quick, just in case it's another good one. See what we got here. Oh, that one got off. All right, but let me show you what I'm doing with these baits. A lot of times when you get fish come in, like that walleye did, and you see him and you work him up and down, I just made mention a second ago that I think that's a tulipy. I got him going up and down, but I couldn't get him to bite. But I keep working him up, working him up, working him up. But the thing is that a lot of people forget is fish feed down a lot of the time. A lot of the time they're feeding on minnows that are rooting around the bottom. So they're apt to go down and feed just as much as they are go up. So what I did there is I just took this rattling flyer spoon and I just dropped this thing down. And I mean, I want you to watch this thing hit the ice. I mean, that thing just banged down, and then I lifted it up just like that. And that's that trigger. That fish turned, went down, and came right back up to grab it. Now, you can do this with any bait you're fishing. I don't care if it's a rattling flyer spoon, a frosty jigging spoon, or a darter. It doesn't matter. Use the bottom to your advantage, though, and you'll catch more fish like that one right there. Well, that was a great morning up on Lake of the Woods. Got a bucket of Saugers to go home, and there were two keys to catching these fish today. One of them was constantly changing my baits and my cadences, okay? Sometimes I was getting them to come in on that darter, sometimes a rattling flyer spoon, sometimes they'd go after the dead stick, but I had to be constantly changing. And the second one was I had to pinch my minnows off a lot shorter. I lost a good fish at the hole early today, and I think a lot of that was just I had too much meat hanging down there and they weren't getting up on there as well as I would like. When I'd set the hook, I was maybe only getting them with one of those trebles. As soon as I started pinching that minnow off up by the gills and having just a head on there, I started hooking up a lot more of these fish. Hey, for more current and up-to-date information, check back with us next week on Fish Ed. Good luck on the ice this week.